Hey, everybody, welcome to the Soccer Sharps, a soccer betting podcast. And Jordan, we return for the weekend's action. We've got EPL, La Liga, Bundesliga, Serie A. We've got everything. So stick around, people. Here we go.
Martial. Herrera. Ibrahimovic! Oh my God, an insane goal! I've just seen the most insane goal I have ever seen on a football pitch. Balotelli. Aguero!
Well, let's get this out of the way right off the bat, Jordan. It was a difficult midweek for us in the UEFA competitions. I did hit a plus 225 play, which was nice, but didn't hit any of the others. And you didn't fare much better, Jordan. How you feeling after that midweek? With some exciting games, I will say.
Yeah, there were some really entertaining games, Dev. But yeah, it was an existential midweek for us. Why do we do this? I mean, certainly, why did we decide to bring the Europa League back into our coverage? That did not go well. We got offered for the podcast. We lost every single Europa League bet we had. The only good news is nobody saw it because it was we released it in a different way and it got buried in the algorithm. So that's good. Move on, right? Champs League, like you said, Dev, you hit a plus 225 banger. I got a half cash on a play. So, it was a little bit better. But look, Deb, it's been like a month since we've seen the EPL, and it's fucking back tomorrow. Can't wait. It's been too long. Really looking forward to getting back into that. And some other big, tasty matchups going on across Europe. So, yeah, can't wait to get into domestic leagues.
Yeah, that's right, Jordan. I mean, look, we can't plan for red cards. They ruin bets. Red cards ruin bets. And also can't prepare for Arne Slot starting a back five. Flat back five. That's a new one. It seems like he's just throwing anything against the wall, seeing what'll stick. And I don't think he's long for the job, Jordan. They may miss out on Europe for next season. Could be an absolute disaster of a season after winning the EPL. But look, we're not going to cover them on this show.
We told you here first. Slots of bald fraud. Take Liverpool's team total points under for the season. That cashed weeks ago. So
yeah,
we still got something about us.
Yeah, they are in trouble. I mean, not as big a trouble as Tottenham, though. They're bringing in their savior. We're going to get to that game. Roberto De Zerbi's first game as a manager for Tottenham. But before we go there, are we sniffing a title race? Is there the possibility of a title race? Well, it's going to hinge on this one at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea hosting Manchester City. This one, we see Chelsea as home dogs here of a quarter of a goal. Total set at a flat 3. Both teams to score yes, minus 200. You see the bookies are thinking this starts at 1-1. George City, 9 points behind Arsenal in the title race. They do have a game in hand, and they do have the head-to-head matchup, I believe, next weekend against the Arsenal. Before you know it, this could turn into 3 points in a gap. So City got to win this one against Chelsea, and Chelsea have got their own problems off the field, particularly. Enzo Fernandez has been frozen out of the team for disciplinary issues for speaking out about Blue Co. and the way Chelsea's been running their club. So with all that, all the context for this one, what do you think about it, Jordan, at Stamford Bridge on Sunday?
Well, Tev, yeah, looks like Enzo, according to his agent today, has smoothed things over and will be available for selection against Man City. Not sure that matters too much. As you say, all sorts of drama going on over there. Off the field, but on the field as well, Dev. This team just not performing very well under Rosignor now. It started so well, but now I believe only one win in the last 6. Has not been good at Stamford Bridge. Fans are disgruntled. They get on the players' backs pretty quickly. So if they're to go down here, they're to concede first. Could get pretty toxic in there. Reece James missing for this one. Do we have any experienced heads out there? I mean, is Mark Cucurella your most senior player with Reece James out? He's not a great guy to look to for guidance. But yeah, Dev, you mentioned it. The market thinks this starts at 1-1. Both teams to score yes, minus 200. I might disagree with that slightly. City look like they're imperious defensively again. We got a 4-0 in the FA Cup against Liverpool and a 2-0 in the EFL Cup final against Arsenal, their last 2 games, I believe. So they've also got a clean bill of health back there. Only Guardiola, I believe, is missing from their defenders. So, look, this is Man City. This is what they do. This is their time of the season. Pep knows that this is a marathon, not a sprint, and his teams do tend to kick into high gear towards the end of the season. And you posed the question, do we have a title race on our hands? Very much so. If City win their game in hand and then beat Arsenal at the Etihad next weekend, it's only a 3-point gap. So Arsenal slip up somewhere and City don't. Look out. That said here, Dev, Man City have not been great on the road against the big teams in the league. They've certainly done well at home, but when they've traveled away to like the big six, we'll say, it has been a blemished record this season. So I'm going to be a little more cautious. I can't see City losing the game. I'm pretty sure they win it. Let's be honest here. Chelsea just too suspect defensively. City are going to score. Chelsea probably will at home. But again, if they concede first, it gets toxic in there. I don't know. I wouldn't rule out a clean sheet for City. So I do think they win it. I think they're worthy favorites. So I'm going to take them on the quarter of the goal Asian handicap there. So that if it is a draw, I'll only lose half of my stake, but pretty confident that City get it over the line.
Yeah, Jordan, I'm right there with you. I mean, this City team is rounding into form, right? We see them advance, beating Liverpool, the title holders in the FA Cup. They eliminate Arsenal. I'm sorry. Yes, Arsenal. They beat them for the Carabao Cup. Arsenal looking a little tight even in Portugal in the midweek. Yes, they were able to withstand and got away with the 1-0 victory. But if it wasn't for David Raya with some pretty stunning saves in that one, that could have been more trouble for Arsenal. They just haven't been convincing. They're not playing in this game, so I'm not sure it matters. But they do play on Saturday, so we'll know the result there. If they drop points, I mean, City, you could get them at a pretty decent price. I think they're like plus 600 right now to win the Premier League. So if you wanted to take a dart throw there, you could look at that. For this one, I think everything we already outlined, right? Chelsea, turmoil, City rounding into form at the right time. And it seems like finally they're on the same page as Pep. And we've seen this from City teams in the past. You mentioned it. This is their time of year. This is when they suddenly get hot. And are we seeing that here? I think we might be. It's putting up my spidey senses a little bit to say, uh-oh, here comes City. And I don't want to dismiss Chelsea. The best strength they have is going forward. I think you could look at City win to 0. You mentioned you get a really good price on that. But Chelsea's strength is their attacking front. So if anything, they could get on the score sheet here, and then that would sink your bet. So I'm happy. I'm just going to go with the money line. So I'm going to be slightly more bullish than you, Jord. City on the money line plus 110. I saw it as much as plus 115. So shop around for that price. But just to win the game feels like, judging where both of these clubs are at the moment, with Chelsea seemingly just, there's no discipline in the team. And you know, it always kind of comes back to Todd Bowley, right? It comes back to the way they built this squad, where they're like, we're going to give a bunch of young, inexperienced players massive contracts with guaranteed money because we think this is going to break the model, because this is what they do in the NFL and the NBA. But maybe those players now aren't as motivated. If you got all this guaranteed money, like, you're not fighting for your second contract, right? And not to mention, they're all kids, and you keep cycling out managers. People are speaking out against the club. Nothing against Liam Senior, but I mean, he's just got a job on his hands. It just seems really difficult to rein in everything that's going on there. So I think this could go poorly for Chelsea here. So give me Man City on the money line, George, plus 110.
Yeah, I like it, Dev. And I hope they get it done for no other reason than we get the hint of a title race for even longer. Just hope Phil Foden continues to not feature. This is sort of funny. In our fantasy league, we have a fantasy EPL league together. Somebody dropped Phil Foden, and a guy in our league lost his mind about it, and it created this big group argument, right? And anyway, I ended up making a bet with this guy because the guy's like, I mean, he dropped Foden. I'm like, Foden doesn't play, man. I don't know what to tell you. He doesn't play. The guy needs a roster spot. He freed it up. He had Havertz on his team. He could have dropped Havertz instead of Foden. I'm like, I would much rather have Havertz the rest of the way than Foden. He's a clutch player. He scores clutch goals, and he plays now that he's back from injury. And this guy's like, I'm having Foden. So we made a bet that from that point, it was during the international break, that Havertz would score more fantasy points than Phil Foden per our league scoring.
That's only in the Premier League, though, right?
Only in the Premier League, yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But hilarious. Fantasy turns people into absolute psychos. And hey, someone who plays in our fantasy league as well, Mr. Bob D in the chat, also a Chelsea fan, says Chelsea beat the frauds, a.k.a. Villa, and a JV high school team in the Cup. City money line. Yeah, Bob, we see Bob in the Discord quite often betting against his own team. I think he calls it a know thyself bet.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Well, I'm glad we're thinking the same there, Bob D, in the chat. Should be interesting. I'll be watching it Sunday, the late game for the EPL. But, Jord, let's move to the earlier matchup on Sunday, and it's Sunderland hosting Tottenham Hotspur. This one is lined as a pick. Total is set at 2.5. And it's like the bookies looked at the lines, read all the storylines, and said, we have no idea. And left it alone. Pick and 2.5. Love to see it. Look, Jord, but I buried the lead here because the big story is Roberto De Zerbi is coming to coach his first match for Tottenham Hotspur here against Sunderland at the Stadium of Light, where they've been quite good this season. What do you think about this matchup? What's it going to look like? Start wherever you want there.
Yeah, well, I'll start with the prices and the lines. So I don't know that I've ever seen, we've seen plenty of picks, sure, but team total over 1.5, exactly the same price. That is a rarity. Should Sunderland feel a little disrespected by this line? I mean, this is a Spurs team without a win in the league this calendar year. Kind of insulting. They're relegation fodder. Sunderland are within touching distance of a European spot. So maybe a little insulting there. I guess De Zerbi's moving the line a little bit. Maybe the market's not sure. Can he have an impact straight away? New manager bounce. Oh, and Sunderland have lost their last 3 straight at home in the EPL. So maybe that's part of it as well. I'm not going to mess with the side in this one, Dev. This is a big task for De Zerbi. It almost seems like he did not want the job at all. Well, that we know. He refused the job like a month ago. And it sounds like he just ended up being like, all right, I'm just going to get these guys off my back, I'm just going to give the most ridiculous demands. I want a 5-year deal. I want this much money. And they're like, yep, take it. And he's like, oh, really? Okay. All right. I'll take it.
I even heard a story that he reached out to Manchester United. His agent reached out and they're like, hey, are you guys going to have an opening at the end of the year, do you think? Or are you going to stick with Carrick? Because we're real interested in Man United, but we might take this Tottenham job.
That's hilarious. But look, Dev, the game week, the Prem returns tomorrow night, Friday night, with West Ham United hosting Wolves. If West Ham win that game, they leapfrog Spurs and put Spurs into the relegation zone, at least for the day, and Spurs will head into this match in the bottom 3 for the first time this season. So the pressure would ratchet up even more here. Sunderland are going to smell blood in the water. They should think that this is a gimme. They're probably going to approach it that way. Can De Zerbi have an impact straight away? Can he shore up the defense? Because that's been the biggest problem for Spurs, that they haven't had too much trouble scoring goals. We've talked about that a lot. It's the defense. They're just nowhere back there. But he's not exactly a guy that you associate with stout defense. this guy, even when he got Brighton into Europe, which was a great achievement, did it playing some really fun football. Soccer.
Thank you.
They conceded like 63 goals in the league or something like that. So they just outscored teams. So I don't know. Has he had enough time to make that impact? I left it alone in terms of a side, Dev. I'm just taking the over because I think what we have seen from Spurs games, certainly recently, is that they're good for a goal, as I say, and they're great at conceding goals. And if De Zerbi has had an impact, it's most likely that that impact is making the attack click a little bit more. So give me the over in what I hope is kind of a chaos game.
Yeah. Well, I'm right there with you, Jordan. And over 2.5, I think the reason it's even stayed low is because it's at Sunderland, where they've seen some unders. 4 of their last 5 games have gone under 2.5. These two teams met earlier in the season. It was a 1-1 at Tottenham. But you look at De Zerbi's record, and this is all we really have to go off of, is like his last 3 jobs. He started at Shakhtar Donetsk. This is back in 21-22. Won his first game 2-1. So that wasn't over there. When he started at Brighton, he had a 3-3 draw with Liverpool, a thriller, goals everywhere. And then his first game at Marseille was a 5-1 beating of Brest. All of those games going over. So what I'm thinking here is goals. And I think it's sitting right there for you, 2.5, minus 103. And it's not like Sunderland are fighting relegation or something. They're safely ahead of the bottom of the table. Much better position than Tottenham. And Sunderland, with all of the spots going into Europe in the EPL this season, and could be even more depending on what happens in some of these Thursday competitions. But Sunderland only 3 points back of 7th place, which would see them in the Conference League, which would be an unbelievable turnaround. So they've got everything to play for here. Why not go for it? You got to win the game by scoring goals. So I think it comes at both ends. You could tack on both teams to score. Just out of caution, I am going to go with just the over 2.5 here, minus 103. 2 units for us, Jord. What could go wrong?
Indeed, Dev. Indeed.
Well, that's going to be it for the EPL games we cover this weekend. We are going to move over to the Serie A right after this. And it starts in Serie A with Atalanta hosting Juventus. And this one sees Atalanta as home dogs here of 1/4 of a goal, and the total is set at 2.5. Jordan, both of these teams fighting for positioning at the top of the Serie A table, looking for those European places. What do you think about this matchup on Saturday?
I'm hoping this is a fun one, Dev. The last time I said this, I was like, what game was that? Just last weekend, Roma, and who were they playing? Roma Inter? Was that what it was?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we're like, look, it's the marquee game. It's the Sunday late kickoff. We know what this game is in the Serie A. It's going to be low event and tight. Yeah.
Boy, were we wrong.
Flew over. Inter housed them. So maybe we get an exciting game here because these two teams actually have been delivering some higher event matches lately. They've both been in good form too. And there's a lot on the line. So as you said, these are teams looking to get into Europe, looking to get those Champions League spots, and they're neck and neck, right? Neck and neck in the table. So it's a 4-point gap, right? Juventus just 2 spaces ahead. Yeah, 4 points. So Atalanta, they haven't given up the Champions League hunt, and they're in incredible form right now, especially at home, where they've only lost once this calendar year. So getting 1/4 of a goal on the handicap for the home team in such good form is pretty appealing to me, Dev. So appealing, in fact, that I didn't need to look any further. I don't know if I couldn't decide on the total. Don't want to be shamed again for going under, which is probably where I'd lean, but both teams have been explosive lately. So I just decided to take, in a game of this magnitude, the home team getting part of a goal, end of handicap there. Atalanta, incredible home form, as I mentioned. Yeah, and you're giving me part of a goal. It seems like this should be closer to a pick'em, but I will take that quarter of a goal at minus 118.
Yeah, Jordan, I mean, I stayed off of this game, but just glancing at these lines, I think you're right in thinking that's a little bit too much, sort of going off the Juventus, more of the name brand than how they've been performing necessarily this season. And it's tight up there at the top of the Serie A. So as it has been for the past several seasons, we've seen at the end of the year, a lot of teams in contention for Europe. So I wish you luck with your bet there. Let's move on because we've got another Serie A match, and it's Lake Como hosting Internazionale Milano. This one sees Como as home dogs of a quarter of a goal, and the total is set at 2.5. Jord, these two teams face each other again. This will be their fourth meeting this season after this will be the second Serie A match, and they do have another match in the Coppa Italia, a second leg in that one coming up. So what do you think about this matchup here at the Lake?
Should be another entertaining one here, Dev. I actually went on our mutual friends and colleagues podcast, the Plus Money Pod, with our good friend Andrew Pissarro earlier. Plus Money Pod, check him out wherever you get podcasts. And we were talking about this game, and he was talking about Inter's struggles against big teams in the Serie A. That's where they haven't done so well this season. They beat up on the minnows, and that's why they're so far ahead. And he was like, but while Como are the darlings of the league right now, everyone's all over them, I'm not ready to call this a big game yet. And I thought that was an interesting take. Not throwing shade at Como, but just saying, yeah, you got to earn this a little bit. And I guess it's a worry for Como that they come into this failing to score against Inter in 7 straight meetings. They have not fared well against Inter. However, with Inter kind of having the league wrapped up here and Como really pushing to make this a memorable season, which, to be fair, it probably already is a memorable season, but a special season, I think Como could be live here. Getting that quarter of a goal like Atalanta, that's probably a little short. Maybe they should be getting the full double chance there, a half a goal. But I'm not going to mess with the side here, Dev. I'm going to go, despite what I just said about Como having not scored in 7 straight against Inter, I'm going with both teams to score yes, minus 150. A little juicy, so I'm going to bring that down by tacking on under 5.5 goals. Don't see this one getting to 6. And that's coming in at minus 120. Now, why, if they haven't scored against Inter, do I see them scoring here? Because, Dev, they've scored in every match at home this season, this calendar year. Since 2026 started, they have scored in every home game in the league, except for one. And that one, I don't know if everyone remembers this, so let me refresh your mind. That one was when they were hosting Atalanta. And the stats in this game are insane. It ended 0-0. Como created 5.05 expected goals, had 12 big scoring chances on 28 shots. Marco Carnesecchi, the goalkeeper for Atalanta, got man of the match with a 9.8 SofaScore rating, made 9 saves, saved a penalty. Insane. So I think it's fair to say that was just unlucky. That's an outlier there. 5 expected goals is nuts. So yeah, I think Como can score here. I hope they do. Both teams score yes and under 5.5, minus 120. Let's go.
Nice, George. Yeah, well, I'm gonna go with the Inter here. I'm gonna go with them on the Asian handicap minus a quarter of a goal. I'm not going to be bold like I was with City and just take the money line, though I wouldn't put anyone off it. Plus 120 for a team in their head-to-heads who has not lost. Have not lost to Como in 13 straight meetings. It's a little misleading of a number since Como's only been back up in the Serie A for 2 years, but it just shows that, as you mentioned, Andrew said, Como got to prove themselves a little bit, particularly against the class of Serie A the past few seasons, for my money. Up there with Napoli. And look, I don't know if the Serie A title race is won yet. There's 7-point lead, 7 games to go. If you lose here, Inter and Napoli keep winning, that starts to get a little bit tight. Now, there is a weird wrinkle is that these two do play each other in about 2 weeks for that Coppa Italia second leg. And that one, it's all tied on aggregate. So I don't know. Is there some caginess here? Is there some trickeration? I don't know, because Como could certainly use a point just to keep ahead of where they are in the title race. They are sitting in 4th place, would make the Champions League next season, which would be a pretty incredible accomplishment. So we'll see if they can hold off the likes of Juve and Atalanta. But Inter, you win this game, it's almost done and dusted, right? You pretty much win the Serie A, the Scudetto. So I'm going to take them here, minus quarter of a goal. Could be bold and just take the money line, but I'm going to go with the quarter just because a draw does suit Como here. And if it ends that way, then I'll be really annoyed about having the money line. So give me Inter minus quarter, minus 105. And Jordan, that's going to do it for Serie A, but let's move over. We're going to cross the Alps into the Rhine, where we'll take a look here at the Bundesliga. We have Borussia Dortmund hosting Bayer Leverkusen. This one sees Dortmund as home favorites of half a goal, and the total set at a flat 3. Both teams to score yes, minus 200. Bookies thinks this starts at 1-1, Jord. And with Dortmund solidly in second place of the Bundesliga, Leverkusen still fighting to get into the top 4 for Champions League next year. How do you see this one shaking out?
I don't know, Dev. This one was tough for me. Should be a good game, should be a fun game. Late kickoff on Saturday, the marquee slot in the Bundesliga, yellow wall behind Dortmund here. Leverkusen having something to push for. The difference is Leverkusen do have something to play for. Dortmund are kind of in this, by no fault of their own, this sort of no man's land in second place, right? They can't win the title, but nobody's going to catch them and pip them. Not that it would really matter anyway, because they'd still get Champions League. Are they on the beach? I guess they really can't be on the beach when they're in front of the yellow wall at home. They're expected to play a certain way and put in a performance. So it should be a decent showing from them. But are Leverkusen more motivated? I don't know. They're getting a full double chance here. Kind of tempting. That said, I have no official play for this. I did, full disclosure, when I was on the Plus Money podcast, I did give out a play for this, and it was a goals angle. I decided to cut the game in half and play first half over 1.5. That's coming in at plus 120. You could just play the 3 over 3, but I like that price. Not often you get a first half over 1.5 in the Bundesliga for nice plus money like that. So that's kind of where my lean would be, but I didn't like it enough to make it official for the Soccer Sharps.
Oh, man, you learned nothing from Stuttgart Dortmund last week, huh, Jordan? No goals first half.
Well, that's what I said. I don't have a play. I'm scared.
You gave it on the other podcast. You're cheating on me. Look, Jordy, I think this is one where you just look at the numbers here. Leverkusen plus a half a goal for a team that has everything to play for, that's already beaten Dortmund once this season in the Cup, though Dortmund won the reverse of this season. It's interesting, these teams, when they go, the road team has won the past 4 meetings, which is pretty interesting. And I was looking at some of the numbers here. So that game... The match, let's see. This was the Pokal match. The first match this season, the one at Leverkusen, was lined as a pick. The DFB Pokal match that was at Dortmund was lined as Dortmund favored by 3/4. They lost that 1-0. And now it's a half a goal. So the bookie's overcorrecting a little bit here. And I just think it's too much. To get the full double chance, a draw suits both of these teams. If you're giving me 2 of the 3 outcomes, it's not much further to look than that, George. So give me the plus a half a goal for Leverkusen, minus 114.
Right on, Deb. What was the Bundesliga game that ended with no goals that I didn't learn from?
Last week you were on, I forget what you were on, but it was Stuttgart and Dortmund, but it was no goals in the first half.
Oh yeah, but I didn't play that. I played the Stuttgart side of it. That's where we were Oppo, and you had
right.
Dortmund.
I had Dortmund. Yeah,
and,
it was with Dortmund last week, and I'm turning against him this week. It's all about the price. It's all about the numbers.
Prices.
So let's move on, Jordan. We got one more Bundesliga match. It's Stuttgart against Hamburg. This one sees Studi as home favorites of a goal and a quarter, minus 1.25. Total is set at 3.25. Jordan, I'm going to be honest, I stayed off of this game after Stuttgart failed to win against Dortmund last week. They should be able to get on the score sheet at least in this one and win the game. But what do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, you would think so, Dev. Stuttgart, interesting team, right? We lost in the Europa League today on their match when they hosted Celta de Vigo. We had both teams to score.
No, that was Freiburg.
Knowing that...
was that Freiburg?
Yeah, it was Freiburg. Completely disregard that then. Stuttgart would never let us down like that.
It's your second podcast. I'm getting sloppy seconds here. Can't believe it.
Full disclosure, we didn't dip this deep into the bag on that podcast. It's only 15 minutes or less. So, throw that out. Confuse the scary badges there. But yeah, Stuttgart would never let us down like that because data, Dev, you talked about prices. I mean, this is why this is a play for me. I've waxed lyrical about being happy that Hamburger are back in the Bundesliga. And that's true, but I'm not really going to go with a Hamburg play in this one. I'm just going to take a goals angle. Spoiler alert. And that's because Stuttgart, who I was confusing with Freiburg, who had only conceded 2 goals in the Europa League, are not that team. They are, in fact, VfB Stuttgart. Have kept no clean sheets in 3 straight. And Hamburg come into this in a nice position in the table where they do not have to fear relegation. They're not going to get Europe. So they can just play Sager and keep getting better. Where Stuttgart do have a challenge, they need to keep pace and keep putting up points to secure Champions League. A lot of chasers. So I think this could be a pretty high event. Stuttgart at home here, going to go forward, score goals, probably win the game. That's why they're minus 225 on the money line. But I do think Hamburg get on the score sheet here. Both teams to score yes is minus 150. And that can make you maybe hesitate a little bit. But really, coming into this, Hamburg in the Bundesliga, scoring in most every match, 4 straight actually. And 6 of their last 7 have seen both teams to score cash. And I think it's pretty likely that at least Stuttgart get 2 goals. So their team total lined at 2.5 in this one. So both teams to score yes and over 2.5. The old classic, Dev, coming in at minus 120, playable price there. Love this bet.
Nice, Jordan. Yeah, the head-to-head streaks. Just stop me if you talked about that already. Did you?
I did not bring up the head-to-head.
Okay. So head-to-head, over 2.5 goals in 5 straight, and both teams have scored in 9 of the last 10 meetings between these two. So I like where your head's at with this one. And Jordan, we got one more play. Before we get there, guys, we just want to say if you made it this far, please consider giving us a like, a follow, a subscribe on the podcast, especially if you're on YouTube. We're trying to push these YouTube numbers. We do appreciate it. Costs you nothing and helps us with everything. So we do appreciate it. But Jordan, let's move our attention over to Ligue 1. McDonald's Ligue 1. We're taking a look here at Olympique Lyonnais hosting FC Lorient. This one sees Lyon as home favorites of 3/4 of a goal, and the total is set at 2.5. Jordan, I gotta be perfectly honest with you, bud. I've not seen a singular second of FC Lorient play this season, so I have no play on this one. I'll give you the floor, my friend.
Thank you, Dev. Well, you don't need to have seen Lorient play because it's not really worth seeing, okay? No, that's disrespectful. They're actually, comfortably mid-table in Ligue. But, Dev, Lyon really are the story for me here because, look, much has been made about how when the calendar year started, the January transfer window, Endrick came over on loan from Real Madrid and just hit the ground running. They were on fire basically through February and then just kind of crashed, right? Fell out couldn't score goals. Games are going under, couldn't get wins on the board. So I think they're a candidate here at Lyon for a team that desperately needed that international break. Like, how can we reclaim the form that we had just a brief while ago, right? Back in February, or towards the end of February. So like a month ago. And I think the reset here, that little layoff, has come at a good time for them. And this is a team in Lorient who are several spaces below them in the table, despite being, as I said, comfortably mid-table, that they should be beating here. Lyon still can make Champions League. Okay, that's the goal here. They're on 48 points. They currently sit in the Conference League spot for Ligue, just 1 point out of the Champions League. So if you want Champions League, I said this on last week's podcast, hey, Leipzig, if you want Champions League, these are the types of games you need to be winning. Same thing for Lyon here, Dev. Need to win this match. It's minus 150. Could play that. That's at the very peak of, or the very bottom of how low we're willing to go with our pricing on this podcast. So could play it there, but you know me, I got to tack something on. I'm going to tack on under 4.5, Dev, to get that playable at minus 110. Lyon to win and under 4.5 goals. Minus 110. And Dev, the reason I don't fear it getting to 5 goals is that, first, can Lyon get a win? Can they score some goals again? I'm not worried about it popping off into 5 goals because the data does support at least a relative unders game in this one. Both teams seeing under data, right? 5 of the last 6 for Lyon have gone under 2.5. 4 of the last 5 for Lorient have gone under 2.5. Knock on wood, it's fairly safe that this shouldn't get to 5 goals. So Lyon to get the 3 points here in a relatively low-scoring game at minus 110.
I hear the trepidation in your voice, Jord. We're like a dog that was beaten all week.
Yes.
All week by UEFA.
Beaten by UEFA.
Little scared to bark now after getting the belt so often. Jordan, I do want to say that you bring up the homie Endrick, and we love a Brazilian attacker on this show. He's only 19. People are shitting on him for starting hot and then struggling a little bit. The guy's a teenager. He wasn't alive when 9/11 happened. That's the barometer for me. Were you alive when the towers fell?
Yeah, I like Endrick because he's just constantly got a green light. The guy just pops off the second he gets the ball, just constant shots.
And I think that's that's the mark of the teenage player. He's like, I'm just going to let this fly. I'm here to score goals. I'm going to take a shot. But, I think as he matures and grows his game, he'll learn when to pass.
Yeah, well. And if people are giving him shit, they need to calm down with that because there are plenty of senior players at this club that could be helping out that are also to blame for this bad run of form. But again, I think that reset, Dev, has come at a good time. So let's see.
Right on, Jordan. Well, that's going to do it for us. But before we get out of here, there's something we got to do.
We do indeed, Dev, because it's one thing to talk about these matches, and it's quite another to get beaten like a dog and put our money where our mouths are and pay the bookie.
Chuck, I'm going to tell you something. You have that fucking 200 in my hands tomorrow. If you ain't got the 200 in my fucking hands tomorrow, I'll break every fucking bone in your body.
We'll throw the official plays up on the board here, Jord. Only 4 plays for me after Arne Slot pulled out the back 5 and we weren't given a penalty and we couldn't get to 3 goals in that PSG Liverpool match.
That's a good band name there, Dev. Arne Slot and the flat back 5.
That's pretty good. So listen, just 4 for me. 4 straight bets, Jord. It starts with Man City on the money line, plus 115. Sunderland against Tottenham, over 2.5 goals, minus 103. Internazionale, minus 0.25 on the Asian handicap at minus 108. And Bayer Leverkusen, plus 0.5 goal on the Asian handicap, minus 114. What do you got, Jord?
Well, Dev, I've got some plays to spare. Make up for that blank spot at the bottom of yours. We got Man City, minus 0.25 goal in the Asian handicap, minus 114. And Sunderland Spurs, same play as you. 2 units for the show, over 2.5, minus 103. I'm taking Atalanta, plus 0.25 goal at home on the Asian handicap, minus 118. In Como and Inter, I'm taking both teams to score an under 5.5 goals at -120. In Stuttgart, Hamburg, both teams to score an over 2.5, -120. And once again, Lyon on the money line and under 4.5 at -110.
Right on, Jordan. Well, as always, look, if you listen to the full podcast for the Champions League, we put out some really great angles and some really great plays that did cash that we didn't take officially. So if you fast forward to the end and just see the official plays, I'm sorry, but you might be able to dissect the things we say and pick better than we do. But Jordan, thank you all to the audience. Thank you all for watching, liking, subscribing. We got a couple comments on our Spotify. We appreciate you guys looking out, taking the time to interact, because it does go a long way for our algorithms, the almighty algorithms, who are only second to the bookie in terms of who we respect here. But Jordan, any last words for the people?
Yeah, if you're an old school Apple Pods listener, we could use 5-star reviews. Those help us a lot as well. If you're not interested in joining a Discord or liking and subscribing to things, send an old review our way. We'll read it out on the show. We still have yet. We always request that people roast us. Leave a 5-star review. Don't get me wrong. Don't roast us by leaving us a 1-star, but give us a 5-star review and then roast us in the text portion. We can read it out, and that could be fun, but no one's taken us up on it yet. We have a very respectful, benevolent audience. Listen, I'm rambling now. My little spiel, here it comes. Please bet responsibly. It's not worth ruining your life over this stuff, and we got plenty of soccer to come. It's a World Cup year in the United States of America.
Soccer.
We got I couldn't with that face, Dev. Couldn't with that face. Yeah, we got plenty. Manage your bankroll. There's plenty of time. Hey, let's make some money.
Yeah, let's make some.
Martial.